enjoys Netflix and hit shows like 13 Reasons Why. From the beginning, this show has taken us on an emotional roller coaster, and I had the chance to sit and talk with actor Jan Luis Castellanos.
Hola, soy Jan Luis Castellanos.
This guy's always ready.
Alrighty, boys. Listen, this is no bullshit. A typical day on the set of iKONIC. We always have technical difficulties, but I'm happy to get this underway. This is episode 19 of the pod. We got Jan Luis Castellanos joining us, who just premiered in the hit sci-fi film on Netflix, Uglies. So, dude, thank you very much, man, for pulling up. Give us some of your time. I know you're like a very busy guy.
No, bro. Of course, anytime.
So, I know you were just saying about your experiences living in like Monaco and Dubai. Like, bro, what can you tell us about that?
Oof. Honestly, I don't know, since I'm always on the road.
It's expensive, sure.
Yeah, everything kind of just blends together. I mean, Dubai, it's great. It's expensive. I mean, just because it's going through like a bit of a boom right now.
Yep.
You know, the real estate market is exponentially growing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of insane. I mean, a house that you would have bought for like, let's say $1 million
a
few years ago, now it's worth $3 million all of a sudden.
That's crazy.
Like, what is happening?
It's booming out there.
Yeah, like I was saying prior to this, it's the country is so new, and you have all these markets that are exponentially growing.
Right.
But I feel like there's a correction that's going to happen at some time.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it needs to, you know?
It can't always go up.
It can't always go up. Whatever goes up comes down. So you need to stabilize it.
Dude, that's fascinating, man. Dude, listen, bro. I'm genuinely shocked with just kind of how things went for you because, dude, you like blew up. You're one of the few no, legit.
And he doesn't mean like we're shocked you made it. We're more so like almost like, you know, when you go to school with somebody and then you're seeing them on Netflix one day when you're not doing anything on a random day. And that's when I first saw you.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just like, how does someone, and keep in mind, you knew a lot of people that were trying to be aspiring actors. How did you kick off your career, you feel like?
Oh, man, that's a story.
Dude, I want to hear about that because you were going to college, and I was reading your IMDb page, and apparently at some point you had the decision like, yo, I want to get into acting, and you went out to LA, right?
Yeah, so I was studying to be a doctor. I was a biology major doing med and everything at St. Peter's University. I had my friend Luca pick me up from school every single well, from my house because we used to work out in the morning.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and he used to pick me up. We used to do, you know, bullshit stuff. I'd go to school, we'd work out, he'd come have some eggs at my house.
That's sick.
Yeah, but it was a good time. And yeah, like, I don't know, I was just in the finding myself in a bit of the rut race. You know, I was wrestling, I was doing all these things.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't working. So I mean, it gets intense because, you know, you grow up in this town.
Right.
You're always getting in trouble. Next thing you know,
of course,
I'm like trying to find money.
Yeah, it's like a small town trap.
Start selling a little.
I love that shit.
Hey, you're allowed to say that now. You don't want to incriminate yourself at this point.
At this point, I mean, it was public information until I...
Dude, that's fucking
So, outrageous. I mean, everyone watching this probably knows. Yeah, and then I found myself trying to get bailed out by Luca. Yeah, I used to move furniture. I used to do everything. I used to deliver pizzas. I used to buy things I couldn't afford.
So you were like genuinely like having a struggle before you decided like make the move out to LA.
Yeah, like I think it was just like after that arrest, you know, and every time like I kind of got into like this like rut mentally, you know.
Yeah.
I gained a lot of weight. I got up to like 250 pounds.
Shit. You feel like it was noticeable? I feel like you've always been, you know, pretty belly.
Yeah, I mean, I went from 180 to 250, so it's definitely noticeable in like a year.
For sure.
That's
you
crazy.
know, it's like a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember like every time I would go somewhere, I couldn't go to CVS without somebody saying to me like, "Oh, I heard what happened to you. I heard what happened to you," or this and that. You know, because it's a small town.
It's a small town. Everybody talks.
Small town.
Yeah, it'll come off on an article and then everyone knows about it.
It's like the police blotter was always.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the worst thing. Now it's like you spend a couple days in jail or whatever, and that shocks you and rocks you.
Well, if anything, I feel like it did you some good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I ended up moving to LA, so I ended up getting caught with like 2 pounds of
2 pounds?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yo. So you were, even though you were moving out to LA, even then you were like, there was always kind of feel like a roadblock at that point as you were coming up.
Yeah. I mean, because, you know, I have no money. I'm telling my mom that it's everything's going to be okay. She doesn't want me to leave. She doesn't want me to, like, stop going to school, you know? So
Right.
I kind of, I go out to LA with like $50 to my name.
$50?
56 to be exact.
I did see you were homeless for a bit.
Yeah, I was homeless. Yeah, I didn't need to be. I just kind of like, I wanted to be. It was weird.
You were like a nomad, like a early nomad.
Kind of like a nomad. I mean, again, you're like 19 years old. You don't know what to do with your life, and you come from a small town, and you're trying to figure it out.
It's hard, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're immature. You don't know, you know, and but you're hungry. You're hungry to find something. It doesn't just because you do all these things doesn't mean you're a bad kid or you're a bad guy.
Of course,
you're just trying to feel somewhat important.
Yeah, that's facts.
You know, and I wanted to make my mom proud. I knew that school wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then I found myself in LA. I literally got dropped off on.
Did you know anyone out there?
I knew a couple models that I had met in New York that I went out there and I was like, hey, you know, this is like really cool. I want to come here and pursue fitness. I didn't go to pursue acting.
Really?
No, I went to pursue fitness. I started getting my body right. You know, and because I knew that was always like a core thing about me.
Yeah, you've always been in shape as long as I've known you.
I remember even seeing in the early days, you were posting the workout videos, I think on YouTube for a little bit. Yeah, I remember watching those. Yeah,
I don't know. I think, you know, it all goes back to, I think about that stuff all the time. And I'm like, man,
awesome.
Why didn't I keep going with the YouTube stuff? Because that's so much fun.
Yeah,
you know?
YouTube is fun. It's fun.
Yeah, and it's like, all that stuff was there. Like, you know, going through high school and being that athlete that would sneak off to go to chorus. That would sneak off to go to the, you know, drama club.
Yeah, dude, that's an awesome story, bro.
You know, and then, I found myself in LA knocking on doors. You know, I found an agency. You know, spent a couple of days on the street. You know, why not?
Yeah, and from what I gathered, you really like kicked off your acting career with Marvel Runaways. Right? Like that was like your first like big thing, right?
Yeah. I remember, you know, I founded a modeling agency. They finally were like, hey, look, we do have model housing. I didn't know that was a thing. So, you know, they had advanced me rent. I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with like 8 dudes. I remember Luca. I think he remembers, yeah.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah, he'd come out and visit and stuff. I feel like I should put you in this podcast. I'm giving you so much credit.
Shout out Luca.
Shout out Luca over here.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, you know, you're trying to work and you're trying to lose this weight. Because then again, I had to lose like 80 pounds, right? Yep. It's insane. And, you know, I'm trying to make all these connections and going to castings, etc. And I was going to, you know, I was like, I'm not the tallest, I'm not the shortest, I'm not the skinniest, I'm not the fittest. All these things. So I'm like, but I do have a personality. I feel like I can be very expressive, and I see in myself a lot of things that others don't, and vice versa.
Dude, one of my the most expressive things that you did, which I thought was like a fire scene, was on 13 Reasons when you got into like a fight with this dude in the hallway, then like the cop put your hands behind your back, and then you're like, I'll do whatever you want, don't shoot. Like, dude, you did really good, bro.
No,
like,
my favorite part of that whole scene was when he goes, I think he called you a Mexican.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm Dominican.
What the fuck? No, and kind of going back to like what you're telling us right now, I think the most inspiring thing you've said is, you know, despite all the roadblocks, getting arrested, it sounded like multiple times, you know, being in a bad mental space, but still going out there and being like, school's not for me. I'm not going to fall back on that. I'm not going to play it safe. You go out to LA with $50 and still continue moving forward. What do you think kept you in that direction? What made you just like not go back and, you know, stay overweight, maybe move back to your parents' house? What do you think kept you driving you?
I think it was, you know, trying to make my mom proud and to prove a lot of people wrong. Like, I think that was like, I don't know if that's me or the ego, all this stuff, but I know the love aspect was, you know, for myself and to make my mom proud.
That's amazing.
And then, you know, for, I guess the world was just to say, hey, look, I can do something. Like, I can prove a lot of people wrong that doubted me. And all, you know. It
was like a legacy.
That were like, you're going to do some cutthroat shit. Like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm like, I feel like when I do what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
So I kind of
have like my own way of setting the tempo for my life.
That's good.
And yeah, you know, it's really just been about family, man. Like I keep a very close circle.
That's
you know,
good.
I do it for the people I love and my friends. Like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends.
That's cool.
That's
know what
always
I
going to
mean?
be the case, especially in a place like LA where I can only imagine, you know, anybody
Yeah,
you
of
meet.
course, man.
What are they trying to get out of me? Or, you know, even if you try to build a genuine relationship, they're always like, yo, what's this guy?
There's
trying-
always an angle. There's always an angle.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
So you have to keep that in mind. And, you know, when I was out there, it was a bit of a rat race. Everyone is in competition to book that next job. And I had a couple lucky breaks, you know, and then I found myself like,
Right.
I was living out there on like $100 a week. That was my allowance.
$100 a week.
Yeah,
Crazy. And that's LA, man. That is
Yeah,
it.
that's
That's like in
LA.
New York City right now.
They were advancing my rent. They took it out of my pay as a model, and whatever money I had left over, I advanced myself $100 a week just so I can eat and do my groceries. So I'm like doing all these things.
You were grinding, man.
I'm working, yada yada yada, and then next thing you know, I'm like, because I'm living on $100 a week, I'm losing all this fucking weight.
That's it. No, that's
So
okay.
I just got shredded. So I'm like, oh, I worked in my favor at least. I started working because I got skinnier. But because of that, I
Yeah.
saved, like, I think it was like $300 after a few months. I invested it into school, an acting class.
Smart, yeah.
Because I was like, you know what, like, I can't afford a therapist. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
Acting is pretty similar. Let me just go ahead and you know,
Invest in myself.
invest in myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, acting education. Everyone seems to do it. Every time I jump into an Uber, they always ask me, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a model. You know, I do fitness and stuff."
That's
They're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm an actor," and I'm like, "Oh, like everyone's an actor here."
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, "Is that a thing?" I didn't even know you can become an actor. I was just like, you know what? Let me give it a shot.
Right.
And next thing you know, I found myself in an acting class. I order the class. I go through this intense exercise. I'm like crying. I'm like on my knees. I'm crying. I'm like broken. This guy broke me internally, emotionally. You know, like
Yeah.
And then he's like, "You have something in you. I'm gonna call somebody for you. You know, like you're very expressive. You're very raw, and that's good. A little green. You know."
Of course,
Yeah,
It's your
right.
first time, like,
That
you know,
makes sense.
really
But
getting into it, yeah.
you can tell like you remain vulnerable. And then he called my manager, Carl, who's still my manager today.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Really?
Yeah, and then you know we met that way. Had a meeting with him. I didn't have an agent. I just met somebody that was able to submit me. And then I go out for Marvel's Runaways. And I'm like stuck in this rut because I'm not working now as an actor.
Right.
I'm not working as a model. And I'm trying to find all these things, doing little gigs here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm not making any money.
Really?
I was gonna ask
Even-
you that, like in the early stages of acting, like is there money to be made, or it's more a thing of like we're giving you
You're building a
screen
portfolio,
time?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's such like building a portfolio or anything like that. I think you can do that. You know, that's always going to come. I think as you climb up the ladder and you do something good, more good comes.
That
I
makes
agree.
sense, right?
You know, that you
Well
have
said.
a bit of a snowballish effect, but
Yep.
you can't rely on that. But then
Right.
again, it's like you can, if there's a story and a director finds you, or a casting director sees you and sees
Right.
like, hey, look, you are this character. I believe you are this person or can be this person,
Right.
and you have never acted before. The opportunity is going to be given to you as long as you really fit that role.
Rule, right.
It doesn't matter if you're part of the union, if you have an agent or not,
Really?
or whatever. You'll get all that stuff eventually,
Right,
Which makes
right.
sense, yeah.
you know. But if you are that role, you're gonna get it.
It kind of reminds me like
Fascinating,
Heath Ledger, for example. He was like perfect for that Joker role, and I think till this day, I think a lot of people recognize him as that guy. Obviously, he had other roles in the past, and
You're right,
very
but
recognized actor. But there's like you said, that role, those personality traits where at one point it's not acting, it's you, and you know, kind of going into that, what role do you feel like at this point you've resonated the most with? Has it been Croy?
Topher.
Has it been Diego?
Topher, that's cool. I haven't spoken about Topher in a while, but I think
I saw when you were Topher in this one clip, dude. I gotta ask, like, how did that happen? I'm sure it's like a lot of Hollywood effects where you picked up a dumpster and you launched it at people.
Was it just like a green brick? Like, what was it?
no, it was actually just a green piece of cardboard.
Are you serious, bro? That's insane, bro. What Hollywood can do.
Yeah. I think out of all the ones that I've resonated the most with, it would be Topher.
Topher?
Yeah, like I think that was it was me. You know, I didn't go into acting pretending to be somebody I was not.
Yeah.
I didn't have any comparables with myself.
Right.
You know, and I went in there. I'm like, look, this guy lives on the street. Me too. You know what I mean? Like,
That's mad funny.
This guy's in showered in about 2 days. Me neither.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking awesome. That's awesome.
You know, we're trying to find food wherever we can.
Right.
It is what it is. It's like we have more in common than not.
That's
so
so cool.
Latino and everything, and you know, I was able to use that.
Right.
So I think I was just in that time in my life where I was like, that role, if it wasn't that one, I don't know what it was. I mean, the way I found out, it was incredible because I was ready to toss the towel. I was ready to hang it up.
Really?
Yeah. I couldn't afford to pay the housing anymore, the model housing.
Damn. Really?
Yeah. So
$100 a week, like that's how tough it was out there.
Yeah, it was tough, man. And I'm like, you know, I had to crash on my manager's couch for like 2 weeks, and I was like, man, like. And just shit didn't work. So, you know.
I mean, after a while,
Dude, you really went through. You were in the gutter for a while before you really took off.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. You know, I mean, you have to stick by it. That's how it is at this point. Like, I was telling myself, I'm like, it's a matter of time, but I feel like I ain't got no time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So I remember he came up to me. He was like, "Look, you have this audition. It came in. Like, just do it." And I'm like, you know what? I have no choice. Like, I either do it, I'm going to do this one, I'm probably going to bounce.
Now, this was for Marvel Runaway or for...
This was for Marvel's
Marvel's, got it.
From Marvel's Runaways. I sent in a self-tape. Don't hear back for a couple of days, whatever. And then I go through to other auditions, right? I go to meet another agent, like a commercial agent as well, because I'm like, you know what? Let me find more opportunities. I do this thing, this, like, commercial audition where I have to skateboard. And this is a funny story because remember we used to skate? Yeah, we used to skate. The first time I ever saw anybody do a heel flip or a kick flip in person was this guy. I swear to you, bro, you inspired the hell out of me with the skateboard because we used to hang out. Dom would be on the bicycle. He'd be on the bike. I'm like 12 years old. We're playing football down the street. Yeah. You remember? Dude, that's and we would have the skateboard. Yeah. And I asked him, I was like, "Oh my god, bro, that was so cool. How'd you do that?"
Dude, you're the man.
Kickflip. Remember?
That's mad funny. Yeah, I still got the skateboard in the garage. I'm about to bust it out after this.
So you still got it, bro.
Yeah, he did a kickflip, and like I remember we started skating. But that saved my life because I'll tell you, I went to a commercial audition for this brand called Coppertone, and I did. A commercial for them. I went in there. They needed a skateboarder, an American skateboarder, Latino. I fit the description, etc.
That's fucking sick.
And I went in there, and I had to like do the whole acting thing, whatever. And they're like, "Okay, do you know how to ride a skateboard?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I got a skateboard." And I do a tray flip. Shit. Literally, first try.
What? They were like, "Yo, this guy's got the job."
Yeah, like first try.
Instantaneously.
I did it. They pulled me to the side. They're like, "You have a passport. You have this. You have that." I'm like, "Yeah, I can travel." And they're like, "Okay, we'll be in touch." So I'm like, I don't know what's happened. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay. I go home. You know, no news for a couple of days. They Marvel's Runaways calls. You know, they want me to now go in.
Right.
You know, they're like, "Hey, you have a callback. Come in." They want to see you in person. So I do my audition in person. That was great. Only with like the casting director and the reader. They want to see me in person. Give me some direction. I take it. That was pretty simple. Did that. So now I'm like, okay, getting some momentum, but no money. You know, no money.
Yeah.
Just getting good feedback. Like my craft is getting better.
Right. Which is good.
And then my modeling agency calls me. They're like, "Hey, we have an audition for you, a casting for Adidas and Abercrombie." So I'm like, okay, I do the Adidas stuff, and then I go do the Abercrombie stuff. And then while I'm doing all of that, it turns out I end up getting the commercial, and they fly me like first class to Chile to be a skateboarder for Coppertone. Like, yeah, you can pull it up. Like,
yo, you know what's crazy? I shit you not. I was once watching. It was on a commercial, right?
It was on a commercial.
I was watching TV with my dad on God, and we saw you. I know the exact commercial that you're talking about.
I had like a helmet.
Yep.
I was spraying myself.
And like right at the end, like you kind of, I don't know if you come up a ramp or what, but you flip up the board.
Yeah, I did the trick.
I saw it with my dad. I saw that ad with my dad. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, it actually played during the NBA Finals.
That was what it was. You were talking about it. You were either on an NBA Finals
I said
or Super Bowl,
but I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, it was the NBA Finals. I saw it myself in shock. I was like in the living room eating cereal. I'm like, oh shit, that's me.
Dude, that's awesome, bro.
And J.O., just for people out there listening that might have the same vision and, at some point want to build their career, how many years into this is this now since you moved out there and kind of started pursuing acting?
9 years.
9 years.
9 years.
So
bro?
you didn't get your big break until 9 years into this, like working your butt off and kind of being out there.
When I got that, like all the stuff that started. No, that was like a year in.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, but you have to go through the trenches. Like people,
right,
like
which you were, yeah.
People can be there for 10 years and not really do much, right? Or a couple years or whatever it may be. They might do like a couple auditions a year.
Right.
Prior to me getting Marvel's Runaways, I did like 300 auditions.
Really?
So you were busy every day. You were just...
I was doing like 3-4 auditions in a day.
Oh my damn.
I was like pumping them out.
So how did it happen with 13
So like I have
reasons?
a really bad batting average.
Hey, listen, all you need is a couple grand slams on your resume. That's
That's funny. I got a terrible
Like a horrible batting average. If I were to be a baseball player, like out of 300 pitches you swing at, you hit 1 or 2. That's pretty rough.
So, dude, how did you land that 13 Reasons gig? Was that another audition, or you were connected through someone?
No, that was an audition. That was like after I started feeling myself and being confident.
Right.
It all happened at the same time. Going back to my stories because it all makes sense. I was in Chile doing that commercial.
Yeah.
While I was in Chile doing that commercial, I had to. Then I found out that I booked the Abercrombie thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, now I have to
Now
go
making
do-
moves.
Now making moves.
Now he's
Now it's
busy,
like the commercial, like I didn't know how much I was gonna get paid because it's SAG, so I'm like union now. I got into the union. I got all these benefits, etc. They gave me like a per diem. It was like $500, and I was the happiest kid in the world. I'm like, yeah, this is
Dude,
crazy.
that's awesome, bro.
Yeah. But then Abercrombie flies me out of San Francisco, and I do a whole campaign for them, and that was great. That was like a lot of money, but I also owed the agency a lot of money for rent.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you're
you're still stuck in a bit of a rut.
Right.
While I'm doing Abercrombie, I find out that I got the Adidas casting. So I'm like, oh my god, like this is so cool.
Dude, you're snowballing one thing into
and
the
that
next.
was shot in LA. So when I'm back in LA doing the Adidas stuff, Marvel's Runaways calls me again. And they're like, hey, we want you to come in and have a director session and do it with the head of Marvel Television, all these people. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucking nervous.
Dude, things started working for you.
Yeah, so things started working, and like, so like I knew that, and I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm like jet lagged. I'm like all over the place right now. I'm back in LA. I don't know what I'm doing, and I can't sleep at all. It's like 4 a.m. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go for a hike. I'm gonna go walk up this mountain called Runyon Canyon, up in Hollywood.
Yeah, with the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, by the Hollywood sign.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
So I'm there like 5 a.m. and I'm going up, and I call my buddy John. He's like here, and I'm over there. So for him, it's like 8 a.m. So he's awake, and I'm like, I can't sleep. Blah, 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 blah. At the top, I go to the top. From this side, the other side, I'm coming up this side, and from the other side, guess who it is? The casting director from Marvel's Runaways.
Dude, it was a sign from God.
It was a sign from God, bro. Like literally,
crazy.
I believe that. Like, I believe
something
that.
just works so weird.
And you can ask, like, John. I had him on FaceTime. I'm like, bro, you have no idea what just happened to me. You just witnessed the greatest moment of my life. I sprinted down that hill. Like, my knee still hurts to this day, bro. Like, I'm not kidding you. It really does.
Damn.
Because I'm like, yo, this is a sign. I'm gonna get this. I need to get this. I'm gonna go home and study. And I studied for like 2 days, really, really hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't done laundry, haven't done anything. I'm all a fucking mess.
You're
bro.
falling behind.
Yeah, I'm falling behind in my life, my personal life. I have no clothes, no clean underwear, no nothing. And then I end up getting the date for the callback, and that's when I go in and I'm like, bro, I have no clothes. Like, I have holes everywhere and all these things, and I go in there, and something that normally would take like 20 minutes. Ended up taking almost 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah, because I did my audition. I did great. You had the casting director, the director, all the producers, etc., from Paramount, Hulu, Marvel, all these things, and then
How nervous are you usually in these?
oh, I'm nervous. They literally had to tell me to sit down because you had I was standing at first,
pacing around.
and I'm like, they're like, sit down. It's okay, it's okay. And once I said, I was like,
Take a load off.
I'm gonna die here, man.
Yeah.
I'm 21 years old. I don't think I'm up for this. And then yeah, they asked me like, hey, we're gonna ask you a couple questions, 10 minutes about your life, just talk. And I ended up talking for like an hour because I had nothing to lose. You know, I told them everything about my life to the point, like everything that I had went through, and when I was younger, what we went through as a community. There's a lot of shit that goes on there.
Of
You know,
course.
Like small town stuff. Yeah.
small town stuff that kind of like leaves a little scar here and there.
No doubt.
Yeah.
The stuff you go through in Los Angeles or whatever, as you do all these things, and you know, I told them that I was arrested and everything.
Yeah.
So
They probably love that
everything would be
rawness.
full circle with that. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I got arrested with 2 pounds. I spent a week in jail, this and that, yada yada yada. And like, I'm like, and now I'm here, you know. And all you hear in the back is someone like crying, like one of the producers.
Oh man.
And I literally told myself once I was over, I was like, okay, if that's not it, I don't know what is. I kind of left it all in there. I was like, I wasn't nervous. I didn't care.
Yeah, no, because it's you.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
And then I'm like pacing around the house because that was the last one. Then they called me. They're like, hey, you were the choice. I'm like, I don't know. What does that mean?
That was for Topher.
for Topher. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
So
awesome.
then I had to create a company now because I had to loan myself out. You know, as an actor, a production company, and everything. So I called it 2 Pound Entertainment.
2 Pound Entertainment.
Yeah, 2 Pound.
It's a
2
salt
Pound
now.
Entertainment.
That's my production. 2 Pound Entertainment.
Dude, that's hilarious, bro.
Because I got caught with the 2 pounds.
Dude, what?
That's so. Does it still exist? 2 Pound Entertainment?
Yeah, it's just my company.
Dude, shout out
every
2 Pound
time
Entertainment.
every
That's
time
awesome.
Netflix contracts me or anything, it's all 2 Pound Entertainment.
Dude, that is a beautiful story.
Yeah,
That's so
How you
awesome.
turn such a shitty situation into something like beautiful, bro. So, dude, with that being said, bro, like as of well, firstly, I wanted to ask you, like, how did it happen that you got that role in Breakwater? Because I was doing some reading last night, and you got like a lot of love for that.
Breakwater.
Yeah,
You really liked it? That makes me happy because
I'm telling you, man.
that was one of the most like fun experience that I've had in my whole life.
Now that was around what, 2021, 2022?
Yeah, that was June-ish 2021, I think. Something like that. But it was 2021. I remember 2021 was a really big year for me. I really had a lot of fun, and you know, I was traveling all over the place. That's when I did Tall Girl 2.
Oh my god, Tall Girl 2 was another good one.
Yeah, like I went to do Tall Girl 2, then I produced my short film.
And then see that you were doing
and shortly after
production
that,
at that point.
What was shortly after that? Bridge and Tunnel
Bridge and Tunnel came in the fall.
in the fall.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys shoot that?
Bridge and Tunnel here in New York.
It was in New York, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was like super, super cool. But actually, that was the second season. So Bridge and Tunnel, I shot it in 2020.
Okay.
So there was like usually like around 5 productions across America, like doing anything during. And I was so lucky, you know, you're like rotting in LA, right?
Yeah,
and you're like,
can't
I'm
do
locked in this
back in
freaking
the
city.
Northeast.
Yeah, I'm back in. So then I saw it as a good opportunity to come back home. I'm like, you know what, let me come back home. I want to spend time with my family. There's a lot of uncertainty right now.
Yeah, of
what am I
course.
going to do here? You know what I mean? Everything's closed. Everything's from whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I relocated.
Yeah.
And as soon as I relocate, I get this opportunity to be, you know, in Ed Burns' Bridge and Tunnel show. So I'm like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, I met Ed. I went through the process. You go through the casting, the callback, the director session, the contract stuff.
So there's a lot leading up to it before you actually get that role.
Yeah. You have to like prove yourself that like it's your role.
Makes sense.
They don't just see you off the street and be like, yo,
No, it doesn't work like that. Like you really have to put in the work. And next thing you know, I'm like the luckiest guy in the world because it's like, I'm back here where I grew up. I'm eating my mom's food every day.
That's so sick,
you know, and on top of that, I am doing what I love to do.
Right.
Making a decent amount of money, doing all right for myself, you know, in the biggest city in the world, New York City, making a show that my grandma can enjoy. Like, I was like, life can't get better, you know?
Right.
So that was really, really cool. Like,
And then it did.
and then it did.
Yo, Jay, I wanted to ask you, by the way, like, just out of curiosity, because I know that you're a busy guy. You said that they were sending you down to Chile to shoot this. You were going back to New York. You were in LA. Like, dude, how do you find time to, like, manage your relationships? Is that something that you find, like, challenging?
Yeah.
It is challenging for you?
Yeah. Just because, like, again, I recharge alone. You know,
makes sense.
Like that's how I get my energy. I need my personal space, and my personal space that's like from everyone. You know,
of course,
whether it's the wife, whether it's the family or whatever. Friends, you know, friends. It's like I need to. I don't know if it's the Virgo in me, but you know how people say like Virgos are like very, you know,
to themselves,
like cross your, you know, dot your I's and cross your T's kind of thing. Like I like to do that with my mind. You know, and I like to make sure everything's organized up here before I try to just, you know, go out and see everybody. Like I make time, you know, and I try to manage it. Because it's a part of, you know, also being yourself and expressive. You need that, what's the word, camaraderie?
Yeah, camaraderie, exactly. Yeah, you need people around you type thing.
Yeah, that's really important. But I also believe, like, you know, me time is also super important.
Right.
You know, like I need to try and pamper myself mentally, physically, spiritually.
What do you think helps you the most? I know you said like alone time, but what do you think you do now? Because I can only imagine how overwhelming it is now. You have a wife. I'm not sure if we're allowed to say
I'm gonna have a kid. Yeah,
I'm gonna have a kid.
Congratulations, bro. Man's about to enter fatherhood.
Like, what do you do now to really kind of feel like, all right, I'm refreshed, ready to go? Do you go on a vacation on your own? Do you just work out a lot? Do you go to a spot? Like, what do you think helps you the most? Do you write, journal? There's all kinds of things.
Yeah, I do all that stuff. That's normal.
Meditate.
But I think now it's like a hybrid between meditation and prayer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I get you know, it's obviously it's my personal relationship, but it's like it can get but it gets intense.
Of course.
You're spiritual,
Yeah, like my spiritual stuff, like I try to really uphold that personally, internally before anything. Just because that's like a really, really important driving force for me. It's like it adds fuel to the fire.
Nice.
And also makes me feel sane. You know?
Amidst the madness.
Grounded.
It keeps me grounded, and also it allows me to really focus on the people I love. You know, like when you know you're talking to whoever, you're meditating on whatever. It's never for the bad.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's right.
Oh yeah.
It's never for the bad. So, you know, when you're constantly wishing well upon people, well upon yourself, and you know the people you love, and all these things, and to for the universe or God to guide you. It's I think that really, really helps me. Like taking an intense like 30-minute hour session to meditate, pray on my own.
It helps you get your mental straight.
Yeah, man. Like you really feel good, and you leave like with a cleansed, like full heart. Like
right.
I feel energized when I do that.
You feel
I feel energized.
For life,
like I kind of recalibrated my mind.
Right.
You know. You know how you have to like always recalibrate that one thing.
Yep.
I do that. That's my way of recalibrating and being able to like refocus on the things that I want to do with a good personal attitude.
Right.
So speaking of mental, do you drink or smoke at all? I know you're very much on top of your health and you're very much in the gym all the time. Like, do you drink or smoke at all? Do you indulge?
I have a little whiskey nightcap here and there. You know, I'm normal.
Got you.
That's fair.
I don't indulge too much in the smoking.
No more 2 pounds.
Sometimes here and there, you know. No, I'm kidding. No, I can't. Honestly, it's not the same.
I love that story.
I love the story, and it really changed the course of my life. But I can't anymore. When it comes to that, I can't do. Like it's just not me anymore.
You gotta stay sharp.
Not even about staying sharp. It's like just don't feel the same. It's not, you grow out of it.
You grow out of it. That is true. Yeah.
I grew out of it, and so I'm happy with that. Now I just feel like I'm, kind of on cruise control with that, and don't need to feel like, oh man, I gotta stop smoking That was me at 17.
Yeah.
All right, man.
I just don't care about it,
Bro,
man.
so Jay, I got a question for you, dude. So you're in LA, you're in New York, you're shooting everywhere. Like, how do you find yourself out in Europe? Was it like a project that you were working on? Like, how'd you get based in Monaco?
So essentially, I went out to Monaco to promote this breakwater.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay, that makes sense.
Was that when you were at the Cannes Film Festival? Was that for Breakwater?
No, this was at the Monte Carlo Television Film Festival. Yeah.
Both are big.
Yeah, but they're big. They're great. I mean, one is like, boutique-ish. One is huge.
Yeah.
Kind of, an international. It's great, but, met my wife there. Met my wife. Found myself out there because, through people in my team, we had reached out. We had submitted Breakwater, and they wanted to showcase Breakwater because it was, we were talking about, like, the potential new trend of having, how you have the big screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you have small TV.
Yeah.
We're trying to see if smaller TV would work, which is like would work on like the iPad or the phone and all.
Interesting.
Because a lot of people are on the go.
That's what we're evolving into, man.
Kind of slowly. I agree.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And so we were there to do a panel and talk about it, etc. And I met a lot of individuals. I fell in love with the city.
I was gonna ask you, love Monaco, right?
Yeah, I love the south of France. In
It's
general,
just paradise.
Yeah,
right?
it's paradise. It's a beautiful place. It's calm. The air is nice.
Yeah.
You're by the beach, and the people are very nice. And that's really what matters. Like at the end of the day, you can find paradise wherever it is. I can be in a farm in the middle of Texas, and I'm like, wow, look at these horses.
Beautiful.
It's
Your
beautiful.
nature. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just about like I think everything has its season.
Right.
Yep.
Like there are times where I really would like being in the cold weather and
Nothing beats
all
like a
these
nice
things,
fall,
what I
yeah,
mean,
fall
or
day,
in
yeah.
nature. And there are times where I go like, hey, look, Dubai may seem nice right now. It's good weather, and I want this atmosphere because I want to do this. And
The best part, dude, is that you have the option. Like you could say, I want to change it up because you have the type of career where you kind of call the shots on what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, I think having the option is something that I always wanted to create for myself.
Right.
Like I think that's the way I can't. It's not in me to say I live in one place permanently and I'm not moving.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like I know people like that, and they restrict themselves.
They want to leave town.
I know
Yeah,
people that live
yeah.
out west
even
or whatever.
in our hometown, there's so many people that like they've never been out of Hudson County.
Yeah, like
what are
there's
we
people
doing
that
here?
don't want to leave their mom's house or whatever it may be, yada yada yada. But I think like people should just go out there
They have to.
and like explore.
Yeah.
Like you lived in Georgia.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Dude, I love Georgia. Shout out Luca over here. And honestly, like I just love Europe so much. That's similar to you. God willing, the pod takes off. I find success. I genuinely would love to be based out of Europe too.
Yeah, man. I think like look, you just fly, man. Like you're young, you have nothing to lose. Even if you're like 30 years old and you want to start doing it now, like
They say 30s is the new 20s.
yeah. I mean, I honestly, I'm 29 now.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Crazy, dude.
Sheesh. I met you when I was 11.
Yeah, dude, I remember.
That's crazy, bro.
I know,
Holy
it's scary, dude. I've known you more than I've known most people, bro.
dude, that's incredible. And I don't feel like I'm approaching 30 at all. Like I feel like I'm still 20, 21.
Yeah.
Other with just more responsibilities, but in terms of energy,
Yeah.
and my thought process, I still feel like youthful, you know?
And you should. I think that's the way it should always be. That's why I feel like what keeps you young. Doing things that you're doing now, taking risks, embracing life, practicing gratitude. Because you can't just kind of sit there and settle and be like, all right, guys, I'm 30. Like, I'm done living my life. It's like, we still have, like 40
literally,
years,
it's like dirty 30 all of a sudden comes in and you have to stop.
Everything
working
changes,
out.
literally.
No.
Joe, I gotta ask with you, man. Your background is just so interesting. You've had so many conversations in LA, around the world. Let me ask you two questions for you. One, who is the most famous person you ever met and shared a conversation with? But the second one, who was the most interesting person you felt like maybe you're not that famous, but holy cow, you just blew my mind?
Good question.
Really good question. Most famous person I've ever met. I mean, I've worked with a few of them. I can go from like 𝐴𝐿, I don't know, to like
𝐴𝐿, that's funny.
Dude, what? All right, let's look down.
I don't know, you know, or like
I was not expecting 𝐴𝐿. He loves Turkmenistan. That's his favorite country.
Shout out 𝐴𝐿.
no, or you know, I worked with Sabrina Carpenter. She's having a banner
Oh, that's
here.
awesome.
She like blew up like the last
Yeah,
year.
I
She
mean-
did, yeah.
You know, we did Tall Girl 2 together.
That's
you know,
right, yeah.
And now she's just killing it, man. She's killing
I hear
it.
espresso on my entire Instagram like every 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
man. Every 2 seconds. I'm like, I don't know if that's my algorithm. I don't know what it is.
it's your algorithm, man. It's looking for
No,
you.
I've been hearing that too.
It's
She got popular for whatever. Was that TikTok or what?
No, she was a Disney Channel girl at first, and then she started making music.
Yeah,
Good
for her.
She's an incredible performer right now, and you know, good for her. And I know that we shared a lot of cool moments on the set of Tall Girl, and
Dude, that's
you know, she made like a little video for my brother and my cousins.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you know, great. That's
Yeah.
a great person. But if I were to say who is the most interesting person I have ever met, that they're not famous or whatever.
doesn't matter. Just someone that really you think made an impact in your life throughout your career from when you kicked off.
In my career, I mean, I just feel like I'm going through different phases of my career. You know,
Yeah.
my career is like it's never gonna end, and
It's
I
never
can't, and I can't
You know,
just keep it in one
Keep
segment.
one.
Like you said, you're already
acting-
9 years in the business. So
Yeah.
you probably met you probably shaking hands with so many
But key
people.
word, business.
That is true. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like if you really compile all the times I've acted, it's probably like together in one time, it'll be probably 1 year.
Really?
You know, with all the projects that I've done and how long it took to film each project,
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
probably act 1 year out of the 9. The rest is about managing the
Networking.
business,
That's so nuts.
you know, and doing all these other things. So like a lot of people forget, you know, you're filming, if you're lucky, 1 or 2 things a year. And they take about 2-3 months to film something, you know, and it's like the rest of the time you're unemployed.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, you have to find that.
That's so nuts, though, man.
You have to know how to manage that.
So are you right now working on a project or?
Yeah, I'm working on a project.
Are you allowed to say?
I don't think I'm allowed to say.
Oh, wait, can you say it and we just bleep it out?
We'll bleep it out.
We'll take it out. We'll take it out. We just won't even.
Yeah.
You can trust us on there. You can just sue us, you know, either way. We'll get sued by £2.
It's you know, it's in a sensitive stage, but
Unless you sign an NDA, then we totally get that too.
no, I didn't sign an NDA. I made the NDA, so it's okay. No, I'm working on, other than obviously, like I just had a movie premiere last weekend at the Telluride Film Festival. It's Black Spines. That's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
Directed by Jordan Foss, and he's like this brand new director coming up. You know, we financed the film and we put it together. It's a horror flick. You know, that was really cool because that was like a really big experience for me producing and trying to be behind the process. And I love that because it really makes you a better actor, you know. But right now, I'm working on the biopic. Is it biopic or biopic? I don't know.
I think
Tomato,
it's either or, yeah. I know what you're saying.
tomato, you know. It's like GIF or GIF.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right?
I still don't know. I say GIF. But working on the biopic of, he's a boxer from the 1980s. You know, intense guy, intense life, Hall of Famer. I think he was like 67-3 or something like that.
Damn.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
stud.
So, yeah,
he's a stud.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he grew up in Spanish Harlem, Puerto Rican.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys ever have time, go ahead and check out his documentary.
Oh, definitely. Check
So
it
what
out.
I did was we just bought the life rights, you know, the book and everything, all these things, and we just started implementing and injecting cash, you know, to develop a script and a story around it. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm gonna attach myself to this one.
That's
I'll
awesome.
play, and I'll produce this one with my team.
Yeah.
We'll lock in the deal. We'll
Yeah.
finance it. You know, the development process. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna, you know, ship it and send it out to a studio,
Right.
see if any of these bites, so that we can get a nice solid budget for the movie.
Oh, of course.
Whether it's like, you know, 50 million, 30, 50 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these things cost a lot of money.
Dude, that's
lot of money.
fascinating, bro. I don't really know anything about the acting world. It's interesting to get that kind of insight on like what you go through to bring these things to life.
Yeah, I mean, you really want, you have to, I love to read, right? Like I think like literature was something that I hated in high school,
Right.
And now I'm like obsessed. Like I just went to Barnes and Nobles and I bought like 7 books or something.
Damn, bro, that's awesome.
Yeah.
In literature, like stories, is like you're fictional, or what are you really into right now?
I like history.
History, that's awesome.
Yeah, like I like history. I sent the photo of it because I'm learning about Russia for no reason. I just wanted to. I'm like, I'm curious. I'm curious about. I'm gonna buy this, the story of Russia, the book of the story of Russia. I send you a photo, no? Yeah,
Dude, that's so sick.
Because things like that interest me.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to learn more about the world.
If you're interested, you're gonna like eat that up.
Yeah, man. Like I can just.
You go for hours.
Time flies when you read a good book. It's hard to put down, and you're just chilling, and you have everything organized in your life. Yeah. That'll really.
You got that peace.
Yeah, you get that peace, but going back to my point, it's like you have to be really infused of some form of storytelling.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Storytelling's big, right?
I was gonna ask, based on that film you just shared here, would you say it's something similar to what they did with that movie with Zac Efron, Iron Claw, where they were depicting those wrestlers from the past? Do you think it's something similar, like kind of the same vision, or is it a little bit going to be different?
It's going to be different. I think this one's going to be very different. I mean, we're going to add, and we're going to implement. I can't be talking about any of this.
That actually brings up a good question as we're continuing this. How would you describe yourself now, based on all the experiences you had? Would you consider yourself still an up and coming actor? Would you consider yourself someone now more established? Would you consider yourself a veteran? Probably not the case, but how do you see yourself now in this business with all the work you've done and all the great, shows and movies you've done so far?
I'm still up and coming.
I like that.
A lot of stuff to do still.
Yeah, I feel like I have a long way to go. A lot of stuff to do, and I'm just as long as I don't know what established would be like or whatever.
Right. Like a Tom Cruise, like those guys.
I think it's like, that's Tom Cruise, man. That's
a name.
That's a big name out there.
That's
especially.
a big name, that'll sell any box office. But I think if you mean established by, hey, look, I do what I love and I can pay my bills.
Exactly, that's what I'm
saying.
No more $100 a week budget we're talking about.
No.
All right, yo. So listen, just to kind of give this podcast a little bit of a wrap, like JL, I want you to
I feel like I don't want to rap.
Me neither. I don't want to. So. In final here, JL, just give a quick look at this camera over here. I want you to just let anyone out there that's an aspiring actor know, like, what kind of steps they should be taking to achieve that dream. Should they move out to LA? You think that's like a vital piece in becoming an actor? What do you think?
I think, look, if you want to be an actor, just have fun with the camera, pick up the craft, go to a school. It's not about moving out to LA or whatever it is. It depends, obviously, where you are. Like, we're really close to New York. You have everything here, whether it's the business or the the theater,
the network.
The network. You have everything there. It's just as good. But if you can afford to go to LA, go for it. I mean, just for the experience, because it's fun.
Right.
Like, even though you suffer, go through it and focus on the craft. Network, go out there, meet somebody that can submit you to projects. They don't lose anything by, if anything, they gained when they gain something once you hit, and so do you. So and just stay true to yourself. And my advice for that one role, obviously, because everyone's gonna have their own method as to how they can go about finding their opportunities.
Right.
But one thing I always preach to, let's say, like someone new that wants to be an actor, is that when you do that first, or you're going up for that first role or whatever it may be, just be yourself.
Be yourself, right?
No one knows who you are. No one knows your actual personality on, whether it's whether you're the character or something else on the screen. So, which is what I did with Topher. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be myself because I don't have any other character to compare myself to that I've done in the past.
Right. And there's only one you.
Yeah, and there's only one me. So, once I started being myself in these auditions, that's when things started clicking.
Dude, I love that so much. Guys, listen, I hope you guys loved this episode as much as we did. Jan Luis Castellanos, bro, big thanks for pulling up on the pod.
We're gonna plug your Instagram, anything you've done, any of your movies, because, man, it's been one hell of a story today.
This was super fun, man. This was super fun. You're inspiring me to create a podcast.
Dude, you